We will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. So we will start the purifications of minds today. So that means we also have to know how to purify our minds according to Buddha's teaching. We also call it as concentration training, samadhi sika. We also call it purification of the mind or consciousness purification, Citta Visuddhi. So first we have to know what's really called concentration. Because in these purifications, it will cover the asset concentration and the absorption concentration. That's why we have to know what's really called concentration, according to this statement, samadhi in Pali. So there will be many different analyses. Today we are going to talk about many different analyses given from many different texts. The commentator compile all the informations in one place in Visuddhimagga. Similar message can be found in Patisambhidamagga. But anyway, now we have to introduce what's the really meaning of concentration. Concentration means not having many different objects. We just have only one object, or we just keep knowing one object all the time. This is called concentration. Sometimes in Pali, we can also find the Pali words, Citta Kakaja, Citta Eka Ekaja. Citta means the mind, Eka means one, Eka means point, Dhamma heaven or being. So that means when we have only one object without knowing any other object, that is called ekakata. We can also say that is concentration. In Pali, we call it samadhi. So when we are going to explain any kinds of ultimate reality, we have to explain, or we have to talk about the characteristics, the function, the manifestation, and the proximate cause. So here in this Citta Visuddhi, or the concentration, Avikipa Lakano, the characteristics is non-destruction. So concentration and destructions are opposites. Then Vikipa Vitansana Raso. The function is to eliminate destruction. Then 3. Avikambana Vatupatano. The manifestation is non-wavering. The last one, Sukhamasa Bharatano. The proximate cause is bliss. So when we have a happiness, we can have concentration. When we have sukha, we can have concentration. But what about higher jhana? Such as 5th jhana according to 5-4 methods, or maybe it also can be 4 jhana according to 4-4 methods. That jhana was associated with only upekkha, equanimity, and one-pointedness. Hello? equanimities and one-pointedness. It does not associate with bliss or happiness, but it also comes from bliss. After that, sukha is eradicated or removed by jhana power, then it remains only equanimity. So that is why we can also say the bliss, the happiness, are the proximate causes of all the jhanas. We have to understand like this. Then from time to time, people also ask me, what is the benefit of developing concentration? So when we know the benefits, we wish to practice more. We have more eagerness, more willingness to practice. Of course, we cannot calculate all the benefits here. But here, we have very simple explanations. The benefits of developing concentration. 1, to live peacefully in this very life for arhats. So for arhats, they have to see the arising and passing away of ultimate mentality and materialities. Now when they get tired, then they can live entering into the jhana or any kind of attainment. They can live peacefully in this very life. Then 2, to make foundations of vipassana for ordinary people and trainings. As we have known, we need very strong foundations when we are going to build very high building. Similarly, when we are going to practice vipassana, we also need very strong foundation. The foundation must be jhana. When we can practice jhana, it becomes very strong foundations for vipassana practitioners. Here I have to introduce the English word, ordinary people mean puthujjana. Then training means from Sotapanna to Anagami. It also included Arhata path knowledge. So anyway, before we attain Arhataship, we all are trainings. Then that is called, we call in Pali, Sekha. When we are practicing vipassana to attain Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, or any higher attainment, we must have very strong foundations. It's jhana. Then 3, to practice in order to attain sacred power. So when we are going to practice to attain sacred power, we also need at least 8 attainment with 8 kasinas. If we can practice all these 8 attainments and 8 kasinas in 14 ways, then we can continue practicing to attain sacred power. Then 4, to be reborn in the Brahma worlds. So compared to human life, divine beings are better. They can live better than human beings. Compared to devas, Brahmas are better. They don't have any sensual enjoyment. They can live peacefully, entering into many different jhanas. So, if we have already practiced and attained jhana, in our near-death moment, if we can maintain that jhana, we can be reborn in the Brahma worlds. Then the 5. To enter into the cessation attainment for non-returner and arhat who attains the attainment. So that means there are some arhats, they have attained a attainment. But when they wish to enter into cessation attainment, in Bali we call Nirodha Samapatti, they are unable to enter because of lack of jhana. They are pure Vipassana vehicle. Similarly, Anagami, if they are pure Vipassana vehicle, they cannot attain any jhanas and they cannot enter into the cessation attainment. So for them, they have to practice until they can attain the 8 attainments with one of the kasinas. Then, based on jhanas and vipassana, they can enter into the cessation attainment. So these are the 5 benefits mentioned in the text. In reality, there are many other benefits of concentration. We cannot calculate how many benefits we have got. Practically, if you can concentrate very well, you can feel peacefulness, although you don't take jhana. When you can see the nimitta, you can feel more peacefulness without attaining jhana. When you can attain jhana, you can also experience the bliss, the happiness of jhana. So there are many, many other benefits we cannot mention here. It will be more than as we expected. So now we have to continue the next one. In Pali we call dukkha, diet. So if we analyze the concentration into group, there are many different groupings. Some of the groups are according to the association. For that, we have to understand Abhidhamma. If we can understand Abhidhamma, we can understand deeper and better. Similar analysis can be found in Patisambhidamagga. Then we can also find in many other sutras. You know, the first one, Upachara and Appana. We can say Upachara Samadhi and Appana Samadhi. Upachara means asset concentration. Appana Samadhi means absorption concentration. Sometimes we also call Upachara as neighborhood concentration. It is very close to the jhana. So when we can attain asset concentration, then it also very close to jhana. Then this also can be the foundations of vipassana. So, practicing what kind of subjects can we attain? The upachara samadhi, the asset concentration, or neighborhood concentration. So, when we can practice, such as Buddhanussati, or 4 elements, we can also attain asset concentration. Then when we can practice like a Dhammanosati, Sanghanosati, Jaganosati, Devadanosati, Upasamasati, all these things can be only for asset concentration. We cannot attain jhana. But because these are very similar to ultimate reality, for example, the four elements, they are ultimate reality. Buddha's quality also ultimate reality. That is why we cannot attain jhana. We can attain only asset concentration. Now by practicing what kind of meditation subjects can we attain absorption concentration? So we have already known that practicing mindfulness of breathing, we can also attain jhana. Practicing casinos, we can also attain jhana. Practicing repositiveness meditation, we can also attain jhana. These are very common knowledge in our Pali study or Pali learning school. So anyway, now for meditators also, we should know that we can attain jhana by practicing mindfulness of breathing or casinos or like four sublime abidings. Then if we can attain jhana concentrations, it will be better than asset concentration because we have stronger concentrations, better experience, more stability of the mind. When we practice vipassana, it will be smooth. Okay, now we have to proceed the next two. Lokiya Samadhi, maintaining concentration, and the Lokuttara Samadhi, supra-maintaining concentration. So, in this case, when we can attain just normal jhana without further fruition knowledge, it can be considered as maintaining concentration. In the text mentioned, the one-pointedness in 3 planes is maintaining concentration. Here, 3 planes means sensual realms, material realms, and immaterial realms. These are called sensual planes, 3 planes. Then what about Lokuttara, supra-maintaining concentration? The one-pointedness associated with Noble Path is the supra-maintaining concentration. Actually, when it is associated with Noble Fruition also is supra-maintaining concentration. Actually, when we study Abhidhamma, you may know there are 8 types of Lokuttara Citta, 8 supra-maintaining consciousnesses. Each consciousnesses are multiplied by 5 jhanas. Altogether, 20 in past knowledges, 20 in fruition knowledges, altogether 40. We have this kind of analysis in Abhidhamma. Then we have to continue next group, Sappittika and Nipittika concentration. The Sappittika means the concentration accompanied by rapture. Nipittika means the concentration accompanied by rapture. So this kind of analysis can be found in many, many places. When we have Abhidhamma knowledge, we can understand easily because we know how many subjects has, also how many jhana has, how many jhana feathers. 5 jhana factors, 4 jhana factors, and so forth. If we know the jhana factors, we can also know that which jhana is associated with rupture, which jhana does not associate with rupture. If we can know well, we can analyze easily. So now, the first jhana and the second jhana are accompanied by rupture according to 4-4 methods. If we say according to a 5-4 method, the first jhana, the second jhana, and the third jhana are accompanied by rupture. Rupture means piti or join. We also say as a join. So the remaining jhanas are accompanied by rupture. So according to 4-4 methods, it can be the jhana, 4th jhana, also immaterial jhanas. According to 5-4 methods, 5-4 methods, it can be right the 3rd jhana, 4th jhana, 5th jhana. They can be 4th jhana and 5th jhana. They are accompanied by rupture. So the main thing is, it also includes the immaterial jhana. All immaterial jhana does not associate with rupture. So this analysis is according to association, according to Visuddhimagga. Then we have the next 2, Sukha Sagata and Ubhaka Sagata. The concentration accompanied by bliss, and Ubhaka Sagata, the concentration accompanied by equanimity. So here only the 4th jhana is accompanied by equanimity according to 4-4 method. According to 5-4 method, only the 5th jhana is accompanied by equanimity. So we have to understand all remaining jhanas. That means the 1st jhana, the 2nd jhana, the 3rd jhana were associated with sukha, bliss, according to 4-4 methods. But according to 5-4 methods, the 1st jhana, the 2nd jhana, the 3rd jhana, the 4th jhana were associated with sukha, the bliss. So this analysis also according to the association. So there are only 2 analyses here, but we also have another group, tika. Try it. So they have mentioned Hina Samadhi, Majjhima Samadhi, and Panita Samadhi. We can also understand the inferior concentration and the median concentration, and also the superior concentration. So here means the newly attained jhana is inferior. So in the very beginning, when we attain jhana, we cannot balance high controlling faculties very well. Then from time to time, we can fall into bhavanga states. At the time, we cannot improve very well. The next step is Majjhima, the median concentration. So this is not well developed yet. The median one is not well developed yet. That means we haven't practiced mastery. The superior one is well mastered concentration. So which means we have already practiced masteries. This is called Panita, superior concentration. Then we should proceed the next 3. Savitaka, Savichara, the concentration accompanied by inertial application and sustained application. As we have known that when we study the jhana factors, there are 5 jhana factors in the first jhana: Vitakka, initial application; Vichara, sustained application; then Piti, rapture or joy; Sukha, bliss or happiness; then Ekaggata, one-pointedness. These are the 5 jhana factors of the first jhana. According to 5-4 methods, in the second jhana, no initial application, but it will associate with sustained application. That is why here you analyze this 3. It divided into 3. It just analyzes. Savitaka, Savichara, which means accompanied by initial application and sustained application. That means the first jhana and also all the asset concentration. Then 2, Avitaka, Vichara Mata. Avitaka means the concentration are accompanied by initial application, but accompanied by sustained application. So according to 5-4 methods, it also comes from so that means according to 5-4 methods, we can also know that it also comes from second jhana. In the second jhana, it does not associate with initial application, but associate with sustained application. Then 3, Avitaka Avichara Samadhi, the concentration accompanied by initial application and sustained application. It can be all other jhanas, excepting the first jhana and the second jhana. So we can proceed to the next group. So they are mentioned, right? The first jhana, this explanation of the previous one. The first jhana and asset concentrations are accompanied by initial application and sustained application. So the second jhana, according to the 5-4 method, is accompanied by initial application, but accompanied by sustained application. But all other higher jhanas does not associate with both of them. We have to understand. Like this. Then again, the next one. Vitisahagata Samadhi, the concentration accompanied by happiness. Actually, we can also say this is like a rapture, actually. Sukhasagata, the concentration accompanied by bliss. The Ubhakasagata, the concentration accompanied by equanimity. So we have these 3 analyses again. Then we have to proceed. What are they? With the next slides. The first jhana and the second jhana, according to 4-4 methods, are accompanied by rapture. We can also say happiness. Then the third jhana is accompanied by bliss. That means the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, actually both, 3 of them accompanied by bliss. The fourth jhana is accompanied by equanimity, according to 4-4 methods. So according to 5-4 methods, then the 5th jhana will be accompanied by equanimity. The 4th jhana will be accompanied by bliss. Then the first, the second, the third jhana will be accompanied by rapture or happiness. This also according to association, according to Visuddhimagga. Then the next one we have the Parita, limited concentration, Magadha, exalted concentration, and Apamana, measureless concentration. So here, limited. Actually, because it's like a little or weak. Preta also can be considered as a project. Also can be translated as a little or less. Anyway, we can use next slide. The next slide. So Preta means the asset concentration. We can understand sensual sphere consciousness is limited concentration. Actually, when we talk about Preta, it means sensual sphere consciousness. So sensual sphere consciousness means when we talk about the normal concentrations without jhana attainment, all the asset concentrations are called sensual sphere consciousness. It's very limited. The material and immaterial jhanas, we can say 8 attainments, are a solid concentration. The apamana, measure of concentration, is supramantic jhana. That means the jhana that associated with path and fruition knowledge. So we have to continue the next groove, to dukkha, to tread. Then here we have to proceed. Dukkha paribhara, danda, binya, difficult progress, and sluggish attainment. 2. Dukkha paribhara, kripa binya, difficult progress, but swift attainment. 3. Dukkha sukha paribhara, danda binya, easy progress, but sluggish attainment. And 4. Sukha Patipata Kripa Binya, easy progress and swift attainment. We can find this kind of explanations in many, many sutras. The Buddha himself said many times. So here we have to explain. Okay, move to next one. What's it really called? Patipada. What's it really called? Vinya. Patipada means the practice from the primary, preliminary to asset concentration. It's called Patipada. So that means the first one, dukkha Patipada, danda vinya, according to previous slide, right? Anyway, you can understand the one. Difficult progress and sluggish attainment. In this part, so there will be many difficulties for a meditator when they start practicing until they attain asset concentration. They have a lot of difficulties. In every single improvement, they have difficulties. That is called difficult progress. Then also sluggish attainment. So here we have some explanation about abhinya. Abhinya means the attainment or the wisdom from the asset concentration to absorption concentration. Now we can understand one more way. Without wisdom, we cannot attain any attainment. That is why whenever we attain jhana will associate with wisdom. That's why here we can say attainment and wisdom come together. So according to this explanation, we can explain dukkha paripada danda vinya. Dukkha paripada means he may have many difficulties from the very beginning of the practice to the asset concentration. After attaining asset concentration, he also encounters many difficulties. You cannot attain jhana easily. We call sluggish attainment, danda vinya. This is the first type. Then 2, dukkha patipada, as mentioned before, they may have many difficulties from the very beginning of the practice to the asset concentration. but Kripapinya, strict attainment. After attaining asset concentration, they can attain jhana easily. This is the second type. Then the third one is Sukha Patipada Dantavinya. Easy progress, but sluggish attainment. In modern community, we cannot find this kind of meditator. Because from the very beginning to the asset concentration, mostly we have a lot of difficulty. So the third types of meditators, they can easily practice up to asset concentration, no more difficulties. But after that, when they are going to practice after asset concentration, they have a lot of difficulty to attain jhana. This is the third type. The Sukha Paribhara Kripa Vinya. Sure, we cannot find this kind of person in modern society. It's almost impossible. Easy progress and then certain attainment. So that means they can attain everything easily. Maybe like a bodhisattva, maybe, right? Maybe Venerable Sariputta, like Venerable Mahamoggallana, they can attain easily. So these are the four types of meditators according to their attainment and their practice. Then we should move to the next one. Yeah, this one will be difficult to explain now. Anyway, it will take time to explain this one. The causes of dukkha paribhara and danta vinya. Because I'm just like a table. The first three, for example, dukkha paribhara, 10 impediments. Why we have a lot of difficulties in our practice? So the first one is 10 impediments. When we have 10 impediments, we have a lot of difficulties. So later we have to explain 10 impediments. Okay, now I will introduce a little bit. For example, if you are busy with many different things, except meditation. Mostly in the meditation center, we have this problem. There are some meditators. They are busy with many other things, but no meditation. If we are busy with many other things, that means we have impediments. We cannot improve ourselves easily. This is dukkha paribhara. Second one is lustful temperament. So that means we are very easy to attach to something or somebody. Although we have very short conversation, we become very much acquaintance, become very close friends. Also, we like many different things. When we have this kind of temperament, then we have very slow improvement in our meditation. Then the third one is not practicing samatha. So now you may have known many different meditation traditions. And they may say, we are pure Vipassana practitioners. We don't need to do samatha. But in reality, it's necessary to practice samatha. If we don't practice samatha, we may have a lot of difficulty to improve ourselves. So this is about dukkha paribhara. Then we have danta vinya. What makes us sluggish attainment? So 10 unskilled in jhana. So later we will explain 10 skills in jhana, right? So that means we are not very skillful in jhana. Okay, I have to briefly introduce. We don't know how to balance controlling faculties. we don't know how to develop enlightenment fetters, then this is called unskilled in jhana. So if we are unskilled in jhana, it will be very slow, very sluggish attainment. Then next one is diluted temperament. You can say we have very strong delusion. So sometimes we are not ready to accept many informations, especially about the Dhamma. What we have practiced in the past is another. What we can find in Pali Canon and its commentary is another. Although we can find very much difference between the practice and the text, we still attach to our practice. That means we can imagine how strong our delusion. We don't wish to know the truth. We are not ready to accept the truth. Then again, the next one is not practicing vipassana. If we don't practice vipassana, then it will be dandapanya, very slow progress. So that means in the past we may have never practiced, or maybe we have practiced very little, maybe. Also for our parami perfections. In this very life also we don't practice, also possible. If we don't practice vipassana, then there will be sluggish attainment. So these are the three things for two different dukkha paribhara and dandapanya. Now we have the next one. The 7 unsuitable conditions. Later we have to explain these 7 unsuitable conditions. So which means, for example, we have unsuitable food, unsuitable weather, unsuitable companions or associates. It can become an obstacle for our practice. We cannot improve easily. So if we have unsuitable conditions, it can be for both dukkha paribhara and dandapanya. That means we may have a lot of difficulty to attain up to asset concentration. After attaining asset concentration, we also have very slow improvements to attain jhana. I think many of Dhamma listeners have been to Paodoya, Myanmar, maybe, right? At least you may have been to Myanmar. The weather in Myanmar is very terrible. Now it's very hot in Ceylon. Maybe it will be very rainy in Molamien. Very heavy rain. So if the weather is very bad, we cannot meditate very well. This is one of the unsuitable conditions. Mostly in the summer, many meditators complain about the weather. Oh, too hot, we cannot meditate well. This is common in Paodoya. So when we have this kind of situations, we cannot expect very high level of concentration. Just maintain. If we can maintain, we are powerful enough. Because situations are not that good for us. Okay, in brief, if we have unsuitable conditions, it becomes an obstacle, we cannot practice well, then it will be very much difficulty to practice up to asset concentration. Also, it will be very slow progress, also very much difficulty to attain absorption concentration, although he or she has attained asset concentration. Then again, the next one is having doubt controlling faculties. That means faith, etc. So here I have to introduce two different groups of controlling faculties. The first group is faith, in Pali Saddha, and Panya, wisdom. Sometimes we have very strong faith, but we don't have enough wisdom. Then we cannot improve easily. All is wrong when we believe. We can believe wrong things. We can believe in wrong informations. It becomes very, very terrible. Sometimes we have wrong view because of very strong confidence. So in brief, sometimes very strong faith, but very weak wisdom that we may believe in wrong information or wrong things. It becomes an obstacle. We cannot improve our meditation. Sometimes we have very strong wisdom. We can analyze or investigate everything very much in detail. But the problem is we don't have confidence or faith. Then we have a difficulty. Okay? Mostly we have wicked minds. When we have wicked minds, it spoils our life or it spoils our confidence. That is why we have to balance these two, faith, saddha, and wisdom, panya. If we can balance these two, we can improve. Sometimes two of them are very weak or very low. No confidence, no wisdom. Then we cannot expect any higher attainment. It be dukkha paripada, difficult to progress. Also dana pinya, sluggish attainment. Then we have the next two. Viriya, the efforts, and samadhi, the concentration. Sometimes we have very strong efforts. We can sit very long time. We have very strong mental energy. We can also use our bodily energy. But if we don't have enough concentration, the more we make efforts, the more we have restlessness. It's out of control. I think many of meditators has this experience. Sometimes we also know that we have restlessness. We cannot overcome it. That means we have very strong effort. That's why we have restlessness knowingly. We have wandering thoughts knowingly. Although we have thoughts, we cannot overcome it. Right? That is because of effort. Sometimes we have very strong concentration, but we don't have enough effort to maintain that concentration. If like that, we may fall asleep or we may fall into bhavana state, which means we don't know any particular object. We know that now we can understand we know some particular object, but we don't know which object we know it. That means unclear object. We don't have any particular object. Our mind is totally blurred. In this kind of situation, we can understand that we have very strong concentration, but we have weak efforts. That's why it happened like that. It's very comfortable. Very comfortable. But it is no more. It's not for improvement. Not good for improvement. Sometimes we like that kind of feeling, that kind of experience. It becomes very risky. Later we may create that kind of things. We may experience the same things again and again. Finally, no more improvement. Just we stop there. Very long time. Because if we don't have any particular objects, mind is blurred. Very comfortable, very peaceful. So in reality, when we are meditating, we must keep knowing meditation subject. If we cannot know the meditation subject, for example, when we are practicing breathing meditation, we don't know the breathing, we just know something like a blur, not clear object, then that means we are not meditating. Again, so if we can balance these two, concentrations and effort, we can maintain better. The mindfulness is always needed. In Pali we call sati. Sati is always needed. If we have very strong concentrations, then we must be able to maintain that concentration with strong effort. Sometimes, although we are trying very hard, if we cannot improve, we have to relax, restart. Otherwise, cannot improve. So mostly we have this difficulty. So if we cannot control, if we don't have very strong controlling faculties, it will be dukkha paripada, slow progress or difficult progress, and also danda pinya. We can say sluggish attainments. So if we can solve all these problems, then there will be better experience. We can attain faster and better than other people. Okay, now we have to continue the next one. So now, Parita, the next four is Parito, Parita Ramano, Parito, Abana Ramano. Right? Let me limited concentration with limited object. Parito Abana Ramano, limited concentration with measureless object. Then Abamano, Parita Ramano, measureless concentration with limited object. Abamano, Abana Ramano, measureless concentration with measureless object. So we can also find this kind of analysis in many other texts. Okay, we should move to its explanation. Here, Preta means jhana cannot be the causes of higher jhana. Preta Ramana means the kasinas cannot be expanded as well as the bowl tray or a bigger tray. So, for example, the first one, Parito, Preta Ramano. That means we may have attained jhana, but this jhana is not strong enough to practice or to be foundations of higher jhana. Then Preta Ramano, that means we cannot expand the kasina. So you can imagine when we have to practice kasina meditation, we have to expand wider and wider, from near to far. So in the text also it mentioned, if we can practice very well, then our kasina will be very stable, like a circle, round shape. Then when we expand, it becomes shaken. So that means if we cannot expand as well as a bowl tray, that means Preta Ramana. Or maybe it can be a little bit bigger tray also possible, right? Similarly, Preta Abmana Ramano. Abmana means the jhanas is powerful enough to be the causes of higher jhana. Abmana Ramana means the kasina is well expanded. So we can expand the kasinas. So it depends on the practitioners. So number two, Pradopridharamano means limited concentration with measureless object means. His jhana is not strong enough to attain higher jhana, to proceed practicing for higher jhana, but he can expand his kasina object. 3. Abhamana ramano, measureless concentration with limited objects. This one also, his concentration is strong enough to proceed practicing for higher attainment, higher jhanas. He can also expand his kasinas. Then 4, abhamana ramano. Sorry, he cannot, with limited object, the 3 is he cannot expand his kasina. So 4, abhamana ramano, measureless concentration with measureless objects. This means his jhana is strong enough to proceed practicing for higher attainment, higher jhanas. Also, he can expand his kasinas. These are according to the practitioners. Then we have to go to the next one. The next tetrad, Hana Bhagya. The concentration partaking of diminution. Then 2, Titi Bhagya, the concentration partaking of stagnation. Then Visuddha Bhagya, the concentration partaking of distinction. Nibbida Bhagya, the concentration partaking of penetration. So we can also find these 4 types of concentration in many other discourses. Okay, now there is the concentration that we have to proceed is explanation. Proceed. There is the concentration partaking of diminution due to accessibility to opposition. So sometimes we have hindrances. Hindrances are the oppositions of jhana. So if we have hindrances, then our concentration can be weaker, or maybe we cannot enter into jhana anymore. That is why it's called Hana Bhagya. Actually, there can be many other situations. For example, sometimes because of laziness, we cannot enter into jhana. We don't wish to enter into jhana. It's also possible. Because of not practicing, because of many other defilements, it also can be. Then Titi Bhagya, the mindfulness that is conformity with the current jhana remains in the same stage without any progress. It is called the concentration partaking of stagnation. So that means sometimes we don't improve, we cannot improve anymore. We remain in the same stage without improving. This is called Titi Bhagya. The same types of concentrations, the same mindfulness, the same level of mindfulness, no more progress. Then we have, the next one is like a concentration partaking of distinction is the attaining of higher jhana. We call embodied Visesa Bhagya. When our foundations become powerful and strong, we can attain the higher jhana. We can also practice higher jhana. Then again, the concentrations partaking of penetration is the inside knowledge that can realize the Four Noble Truths. Sometimes our inside knowledge becomes very powerful because of the foundations, jhana. As we have explained before, jhana can be the foundations of vipassana. If we have very strong jhana, we have very strong foundation. So now the concentration, partaking of penetration is the insight knowledge. The insight knowledge comes from concentration. The insight knowledge must be strong enough to realize the Four Noble Truths or to understand the Four Noble Truths. This is the call. In Pali, Nipita Bhagya Samadhi. Okay, we can proceed the next groove by associated jhana fetters. Here I didn't explain jhana fetters, right? Anyway, we have to know that. Okay, that means actually, and when I forget to explain that one. Actually, when we read the Visuddhimagga, the next part is about the Panchaka, right? So in the Panchaka we call Pentet, right? Panchaka, Pentet. So in the Panchaka, it will mention 5 jhanas according to jhana fetters. But here I just talk about all the things in one place. I don't need to talk about many other things later. So here, by associated jhana fetters, that means there can be 5 different types of jhanas according to the jhana fetters. The first jhana we're associated with Vitakka, initial application, Vichara, sustained application, Piti, rapture, Sukha, bliss, Ekaggata, one-pointedness. This is the first jhana according to 5-4 methods. The second jhana, according to 5-4 methods, we're associated with 4 jhana fetters. Sustained application, in Bali, Vichara, then Piti, rapture, Sukha, bliss, and Ekaggata, one-pointedness. This is the second jhana that's associated with the 4 jhana fetters according to 5-4 methods. The third jhana we're associated with 3 jhana fetters. Rapture, Piti, then bliss, Sukha, and one-pointedness, Ekaggata. Then the 4th jhana we associate with 2 jhana fetters. Bliss, Sukha, and one-pointedness, Ekaggata. So these are according to 4-4 methods. Then the last one, 5th jhana, we associate with Upekkha, equanimity, and Ekaggata, one-pointedness. So according to 4-4 methods, the 5th jhana will become 4. The 4th jhana will become 3 of the touch. Then the 3rd jhana will become the 2nd, because in the 2nd jhana, the meditator can remove Vitakka, Vichara together. That's why it becomes 4-4 methods. It depends on the practitioners. There are some meditators, when they encounter difficulty to remove Vitakka, Vichara together, we have to recommend them to remove one by one. That's why it becomes 5-4 methods. So, what about immaterial jhanas? The immaterial jhanas were associated with Upekkha, equanimity, and Ekaggata, one-pointedness. They also have 2 jhana fetters. Same to the 5th jhana, or according to 4-4 method, it can be the 4th jhana. So we can find these explanations in Panchaka, Pentet. But now here I add here, according to jhana fetters, there are 5 types of jhanas. Then by realms or by existence, Then again, according to our existence or realms, for example, in the sensual realms, we can also say sensual sphere consciousness. So sensual sphere consciousness is actually asset concentration. I've already said that one before. In every single jhana, we have asset concentration. For example, the first jhana also has asset concentration before attaining it. In the second jhana also is asset concentration. In the third jhana, fourth jhana, in any kind of jhana, there are asset concentration before we really attain it. So that is why all the asset jhanas can be considered as sensual realms or sensual sphere consciousness. The 5 material realms, of course, we call in Pali Rupa Vajra, material realms or material jhanas. We have already said the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana, or the fifth jhana, according to 5 methods, all are called 5 material jhanas. The immaterial realms, we have immaterial jhanas, such as boundless space, boundless consciousness, nothingness jhana, neither perception nor non-perception jhana. All these are called immaterial realms, immaterial jhanas. So, asset concentration can be anywhere. But when we talk about the jhana attainment, for example, like in the material realms, sure, they can enter into material jhanas. But in the immaterial realms, they have their respective jhanas. Then, next one is a supramundane jhana. So here we should talk about the unconditional, in Pali, avatar. So that one is the jhana that's associated with past and future knowledge. We have already explained the one before. Now, the last part, by supreme. So that means we have many different types of attainment, many different types of power when we attain jhana. So sometimes we have very strong desire to attain jhana. Then we can say the concentrations attained by desire predominant. Then sometimes we have very supreme energy, supreme efforts to attain jhana. At the time, the concentration is attained by the energy predominant, the consciousness, or the mind, or the willingness. Sometimes we have very strong willingness, very strong mind, that know the object. Then when we have attained jhana, the concentration is attained by consciousness predominant. When we talk about supreme, it can be 2 roots or 3 roots, according to Dhamma. Then investigation, we can also say wisdom. So when we have very strong investigations or very strong analysis, by that we can also attain jhana. At the time, investigation predominant. Although we say this predominance, actually, if they are in the controlling faculties, we must balance. If we cannot balance well, we cannot attain jhana. So today we can stop here. Actually, today we just talk about only analysis of the jhana. So Next time, we have to talk about other prerequisites of practice. So may you all be able to practice the Buddha's teaching, and may you all be able to realize the final sensations and the suffering in this very life.
Mandami Siado, this question one, how concentration support the non-returners and arahants to enter into cessation, nirodha attainment practically?
Actually, the nirodha samapatti is combinations of samatha vipassana together. For example, like entering into the jhana, entering into vipassana like this. They have to alternatively enter into different attainments. Finally, he must enter neither perception or non-perception attainments. After that, he will enter into cessation attainments. After emerging from it, it will be fruition attainments. That's why it must, the anagami arhat must work together, samatha vipassana, that they can attain it. They can enter into it. If they cannot attain jhanas, especially high attainments, they cannot enter into it. Okay?
The next question, dear Siado, what is the difference between sapitika concentration accompanied by rapture and piti sahagata, the concentration accompanied by happiness, as mentioned in the notes?
Okay, so these two are the same. Okay, these two are the same.
Dear Siado, practically, how do we differentiate the different level of jhana? The Brahma realms are divided into a few levels for each jhana. How to decide which level a person will be reborn to? Is it decided by the kind of concentration a person attained? Example, inferior, medium, or superior concentration at their near-death moment. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So in this case, it depends on their practice. For example, like they may develop the five controlling faculties very well, for example. They may have like now we have four supremes, right? They can develop four supremes very well. It depends on the quality of their development. It can be different degree of jhana state. For example, first jhana, inferior one, that means they can balance controlling faculties, but not so strong. Just normal balancing. But for about second stage, they can balance better than the first types, medium level of development or balancing. Then if they can balance everything very well or well training in controlling faculties, the best quality will be highest level. Right? That's why the first jhana can divide into three Brahma worlds according to how they practice jhana. If they have just normal attainments with normal controlling power, the medium practice with medium controlling power, the highest practice with higher controlling powers. According to that, it can be different level of concentration, different level of runs or existence in their next rebirths. Okay?
Vandami Siado, when I meditate on the breath, I feel a lot of headache and tense at my head area. After meditation, this discomfort also continues. When the doctor checked me, there is no problem. So I suspect my headache is caused by my meditation way. Could Siado please help to explain to me what may be the causes of this problem and what can I do to overcome my problem? Should I stop my meditation for some time in order not to accumulate the discomfort? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, this is also very common questions in meditation. Especially when we use too much mind power or too much mental energy to know the object or too much body energy to know the object, we can feel tension like that. So that means when you are going to focus on the breath, don't force too much, don't control too much. If you use too much mind power or too much body energy, you may feel tense. You must relax well. If you cannot relax very well, it will get worse. Then one more thing here is actually, if you have that kind of tension, mostly I recommend many of meditators to practice Buddhanosati or metta meditation for a while. When they can feel free and comfortable, then I just ask them to focus on the breath. So when you are focused on the breath, also don't focus on the nostril too much, touching point too much. If you emphasize focus on touching point too much, it also can happen, that kind of tension. So if you can focus a little bit slightly far from the nostril or up above the skin, it will be much better. Then you can continue practicing breathing meditation, anapanasati. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, if our breath become very, very subtle and we cannot know the breath anymore, how should we do at that time? Just waiting at the breath touching area, knowing that there is breath, is it sufficient? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, okay, you can know the touching points, as you say. It's possible to know the touching points. So actually, there are many other ways to know the breath. At least you can know something moving, something touching around the nostril, like a wave or something like that. It depends on personality. It can be different objects, different types of sensation. But you can keep knowing the sensation around the nostril. I mean, if there's a sensation, there's a touch, right? So you can know it. Then sometimes it's too exciting, or you are waiting, or at the same time you are too excited, you cannot know the breath anymore. So, okay, mostly when you have very much sudden breath, more patience. If you are impatient, it will get worse. If you force too much, it will get worse. That's fine. Okay, more patience, more mindfulness, then keep knowing the touching point or touching sensation there. Okay.
Vandami Sayadaw, some meditators, when they practice well, they will become excited, and then their concentration will drop after that. When they cannot practice well, their confidence will fall down, and their concentration will fall further. How should such meditator adjust and train themselves to be more stable and skillful in their practice? How do they increase their wisdom to know how to train themselves in a more efficient and balanced way? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, we have many different things. Whenever we have new experiences, we are excited. This is normal everywhere. So, yeah, the main thing is, although we have many new experiences or many new things, we have to know only one thing. Just keep knowing breathing. The main thing is that we must have more interest in meditation. If we are interested in meditation, it will be okay. So we also have to know the value of the benefits of meditation. Then we have more interest in it. Then, okay, the main thing is that exciting is just normal. Restlessness is just normal. It can be for everyone. The main thing is more interest in meditation. Don't follow excitement or any new experiences. It will get worse. So training mind is difficult, we know that. But we have to make habit of ignoring unnecessary things or unnecessary experiences. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, when a meditator is practicing vipassana, contemplating on the ultimate realities, will he also accumulate concentration? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, later when we talk about Anapana chapter, we have to explain that one again. So that means when we now have to introduce what is really called momentary concentration. Okay? If I explain that one, it will be easier for you to understand that one. In the momentary concentrations, we have one statement. We must enter into any of jhana attainments, emerging from it. We have to discern jhana dhammas, ultimate mentalities and materialities. When we are discerning ultimate materialities and mentalities, at the time we have momentary concentration. Because all the ultimate reality are rising and perishing very rapidly. We have to know their momentary rising and perishing of ultimate realities. That's why it called momentary concentration. This is also called, in Bali, we also call like a Lakanupani jhana. Lakana means the characteristics. The characteristic scrutiny, we also translate like this. Anyway, the main point is when we are practicing Vipassana also, is also a kind of jhana. Also, there's also concentration. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, just now Sayadaw explained about 2 roots and 3 roots under the topic by Supreme. Could Sayadaw explain detailed about this?
Okay. So when we are going to talk about the activity, here we say again, the predominance or supreme, this is called activity, right? So it must be associated with the 2 roots or 3 roots consciousness. For example, among the wholesome, whatever wholesome consciousness, all the wholesome consciousness are 2 roots or 3 roots. They can be predominant, they can be supreme. But what about akusala? For example, like a delusion, is only 1 root. And we don't have any other roots, right? Then this also cannot be considered as supreme or predominant. So when we study the Dhamma, it will be more clear, it will be easier to understand. But now here, also very far from that topic now, right? Later, I think we have to explain that part also. When we talk about Nama meditation, we also have to talk about all the mentalities and their associated mental factors. There it will be clearer, okay?
Supramundane concentration, including, does that mean, 20 concentration associated with Magga and 20 associated with Phala? And the second part of the question, supramundane means the Magga and Phala associated concentration. Does that are they Appamana Samadhi? Okay.
Okay, the second question is easier, right? They are Appamana Samadhi, sure. The first one, okay. Then, okay, for Patisambhidamagga, can associate with the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana, the fifth jhana, altogether 5. Similarly, Sakadagami Magga, Hadamagga, they were associated with 5 types of jhana, altogether 20. Similarly, in the fruition, that's why it becomes 40, right? So they are also called Appamana, sure, measureless.
Okay, second part, 纯观行者观道之实相应的定。And how about for those Sukha Vipassana Yanika, when they attain the Magga and Phala, the associated concentration, can they be considered Appamana concentration, Appamana Samadhi?
Okay, sure. When they attain, if the Sukha Upasaka Arhats, when they attain Hadaship, it was associated with the first jhana. It's also called Appamana, sure.
And Sayadaw, for this 4 type of Patipada and Abhinya, so these 4 Patipada and 4 Abhinya, would that apply to Vipassana practice?
Actually, it will apply for everyone, for Samatha and Vipassana both. Right? For example, access to jhana, right? This can be only Samatha. For about Vipassana, it can be like, for example, like after Sankharupa Kanyana, no more improvement, also possible. Right? This also can be considered. That's why it can be both for both.
Vanami said, in the case of the lay people who are doing the livelihood, like become a fortune teller, and also see the star or see the feng shui, so if that can consider as the Micca Ajiva?
As long as it's beneficial for community, we cannot say Micca Ajiva. Only for Bhikkhu is Micca Ajiva. As long as we don't cheat people, it's okay. If we are cheating people, this is a wrong livelihood, right? Okay, now?
Vietnamese said also the one who are going to see the fortune teller or who are going to see feng shui. So is that considered Michaditi?
Oh, this is a little bit difficult to say, Michaditi or not, right? That means if you believe in Karma, we're going to say Michaditi. Right? So it depends on how you believe. We're going to say all the things are Michaditi.
Vietnamese said, why we separate the four form matter and the four jhana and the fifth jhana. Why is so? Can I explain?
Okay, so that means actually we have a fourfold method or fifthfold methods, right? We can say like that. So if we can remove, okay, the point of the first, after attaining the first jhana, we recommend the meditators to remove the initial obligation and certain obligation at the same time. If they can remove, it can be fourfold methods. The first jhana associated with 5 jhana factors. The second jhana will associate with Piti Sukha Ekagata. The third jhana will associate with Sukha Ekagata. The fourth will associate with Ubhakha Ekagata. This is fourfold method. Sometimes, if they are going to remove 2 jhana factors together, they cannot remove easily. If that kind of things happen, we have to recommend them to remove one by one, which means after attaining the first jhana, we have to ask them to remove vitaka. Then he can enter the second jhana. So second jhana will associate with 4 jhana factors, Vijana, Piti, Sukha. Right? So the third jhana will associate with Piti, Sukha, Ekagata. 4th jhana will associate with Sukha, Ekagata. 5th jhana will associate with Ubhakha Ekagata. That's why it became 5-fold methods. It depends on the practitioners and their skill of removing jhana factors. Okay?
Wandami Siado, one who has attained the 4th jhana, there is a disappearance of bodily formation or the in and out breath. The prominent jhana factors are the one-pointedness and equanimity. My question is, what about the arupa formless jhanas? They are much more refined and quiet than the 4th rupa jhana, and also sharing similar jhana factors. Is breathing also stopped when one attained the arupa jhanas? Thank you, and sadhu Siado.
Okay, it does not mention it's stop breathing or not, but actually it must be. Okay, it must be. Okay.
Vandami Siado. For supramundane concentration, are they appana samadhi? For sukha vipassana jnanika, after they attain this Visuddhimagga and attainment of fruition's attainment, are they considered appana samadhi? Or are they upachara samadhi? This is the first part of the question.
Actually, if they attain, we cannot say upachara samadhi anymore. This is also called appana. Because they were associated with adeli first jhana. Magga and phala were associated with adeli first jhana. That's why we're gonna say upachara, right? It can be appana. Okay, this one.
Second part of question is this is about Vinaya question. 距离坟墓多远？金山是手里多远？For a kuti to build near the cemetery, how far from the cemetery can one build a kuti?
Okay, so it doesn't mention how far from the cemetery. So that means if we are going to do Susana Dutanga, we must not build monastery in the Susan, in the cemetery. If very far from the cemetery, it's okay. It doesn't mention how far.
Vandamisiado, in the it said according to this meditator Dukkha, the concentration according to the Dukkha group, if the concentrations does not improve, what should he do?
So in the very beginning, we have to check what's our weakness, right? So I already mentioned unskillful things or the impediment or something like that. What are the problem of no improvement? If we know the cause or the problem, we can solve the problem first. We can improve. Later, I will explain 10 impediments and the unskilled, all the things mentioned in this table.
When he practiced the Goenka Vipassana method, he tried to scan the body and he experienced that the body become a block of translucence. He experienced his body become a translucent block. So he would like to ask Sayadaw, is that considered Upachara Samadhi?
Actually, Upachara Samadhi does not come from the form, it comes from the concentration quality, right? Okay, we have the mark of the Upachara concentration. That means you don't have very powerful controlling faculties. You may fall into the Bhanga state frequently. At that time, we can understand you are in asset concentration. It does not come from the form or then we see. Okay.
When one's practice metta bhavana, you choose one respectable person to send the metta, but because of choosing this object, the object become unclear and always have some impediment. But if he choose other persons as the objects for practicing metta, he felt that there won't be any impediment. So in considering this, does that mean that the kammatthana that he chose is not suitable? That means he is not suitable with this kammatthana, and should he continue this person as an object for his metta bhavana, or choose another object, or choose another kammatthana to practice?
Okay, in this case, you have to consider as a really respectable person or not, right? So that means you may have many respectable persons. You can choose any of them. Don't attach to one person. It will be okay.
Vandami Sayadaw, please advise us how is the jhana of vipassana and how we can recognize in meditation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, actually, I've already talked about the momentary concentration, right? Emerging from jhana, then descend jhana dhammas or ultimate reality. When we are practicing vipassana, at the time we can say we are in the momentary concentration. We can also say this is also called jhana, similar to jhana concentration because it comes from jhana power. So later we will explain the one in Anapanasati chapter. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, the questions is about previous talk. The 13 Tutanga trainings are classified as 3 aspects: food, clothing, and shelter. To make the training more effective, do we need to balance the choice factors of 13 ones? Is effective likewise Indriya or Sambojjhanga? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so the last one is about viriya, efforts. Okay, the last one is about efforts. Nesaji means we don't lying down, just sit in posture or standing walking posture, right? So that means, okay, how we're going to develop, we improve, we should choose any of them, it's okay.
Dear Sayadaw, Vandami Bante, is it an offense if a bhikkhu informed that he has attained sainthood to Sayalace? This is the first question.
Okay, sure. This is a mistake, sure. This is also apatic, sure. Now this one.
The second part of the question is it an offense if a bhikkhu spend time only with 2 persons with Syale in one kuti, eating together in one table?
If only 2 persons, sure, this is also offense, sure.
The third part of the question, If those who are considered offense, what is the offense? Anumodami, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so actually both of them are Pachitya. If, for example, the first one, if truth attainment, it will be Pachitya. If untrue attainment, it will be. It depends on the meditators, the bhikkhu's condition, right? If then that he's attained because of his very powerful inside knowledge, it can be a little bit different. If untruth, knowingly like a boasting, right? Well, in this case, we should say like a boasting, it will be parachika, very, very serious. Well, next one is like living together with a lady in the private area, then it will be pachitya. Okay?
Well, let me see, for the 5 indriya, the balancing faculty, for sattha and denya should classify as one group, and virya and samadhi as another group in order to discuss the 5 indriya.
Yes, we can say, yeah, we have to classify like that, sure.
Well, let me see, for parito paritaramana, for parito means the parito concentration, is it originated? Is it because of paritaramana? Because due to the kasina, circle cannot be expanded. That's why the concentration considered parito concentration. This is the first part.
Okay, so for only if concentration, if kasina cannot expand, it can only parita ramana, not parita, right? So for about parita, it's an only essential consciousness called parita. Like that means like the jhana is not well developed, right? No strong jhana. This is called parita.
And Seattle, the second part, for the kasina nimitta, must they be in circle, in the shape of circle?
Yeah, it must be in circle, sure, in the shape of circle.
And the third part, the ukkaha, for ukkaha nimitta, for the kasina, when it appears in front of him, there are 2 cupids in size, in diameter, and it is the circle, the kasina circle, appear in front of him. The distance is 2 cubit and 1 span. Is that okay? Okay,
this is also okay. It doesn't matter. So it can be. It depends on. Okay, we have many different types of objects, right? That means it depends on our temperament. Because if we have a lot of thoughts, it should not be very big one, right? It should be small one. If we have little thought, okay, it can be big one. It doesn't matter. The main thing is after that you have to expand. After that, come back, focus on one small area. It will be okay.
Vandami Siado, for Sukha Vipassana Yanika, when they attain the Magga and Phala, why is that the concentration is only first jhana?
Okay, so that means their path and fruition knowledge will associate with first jhana because they haven't attained any higher attainment yet, higher jhana yet. So that means their concentration quality will be equal to the first jhana concentration. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, Venerable Sayadaw, considering arahants are free from lobha, why do they sometimes develop jhanas, attainments, even psychic powers, like multiplying and producing forms, when these actions don't have karma result? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, although they don't have attachments or greed or anything, but they wish to maintain the Buddha's teaching. Right? For example, now many people have money, but they're still trying to earn more money. Why? Right? They know the value of money. Similarly, I also know the value of the practice. That's why they try to practice all the Buddha's teaching to keep or to protect the Dhamma. If they have themselves had experience, they can teach more people, right? Like this. So we get like a Dhamma Bhandakarika, Dhamma protector or something like this. Dhamma treasure or something like this, okay?
Vandami Siado, can you explain the relationships between the 5 faculties, Indriya, and the 4 Iddhipada, and how both work in developing Samadhi? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, for example, like Iddhipada, also like Adhipati, right? Chanda, Chitta, Viriya, Vimasa, right? So Chanda is a desire. Desire is not in Indriya actually, but for our energy and investigation, these two are from Indriya faculties. So for example, like a desire, if we have a willingness to develop, we can develop. So the main thing is desire, okay, willingness or willpower to develop something. Then similarly, energy. We must wisely use our body energy and mental energy to develop. This also comes from controlling faculties. As we have explained before, energy must associate with the balance with concentration. For our concept consciousness, we just say in Pali, Chitta Diviti or Chitti Para, the mind or higher mind or higher consciousness. So that means when we have higher minds or higher consciousness, then it will be possible to improve. If we have very lower mind, very inferior mind, it's impossible. Right? For our investigation, it's also similar to the Panya wisdom, also come from like India. For that development, actually later we will explain in the 10 ski in jhanas. For example, like energy, how to develop energy. Investigation, we also have to explain how to develop investigation. For our desire, actually, when we know the value of the practice, we have more desire to do. For higher mind, sure, now in modern society, we have many different things about, right? Like a mind or mind power, something like that. We just try to develop higher minds, higher standards of minds. So there are many ways to develop our minds. Now, even the concentration now is the developing our mind. So, okay, the main thing is that when we know the value of the practice, we can develop the chanda. For our energy, okay, if we say briefly, when we have sense of urgency, we may have stronger energy. Then for about consciousness, now when we are practicing samatha, you are developing your consciousness. Then for about the investigation, this is wisdom. Later we will explain how to develop wisdom. That means you must ask proper questions or something like that, right? Okay, next one.
Vandami Bante, how would be the behavior of a saint? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so for about the normal disciples, they cannot eradicate or they cannot uproot their habits and tendency. That means sometimes they may have bad habits, some of bad habits will remain in their daily life. But if there's a very, very bad or like breaking precepts, will be impossible. They will not break any precepts. It will be a little bit different, right? Okay, if we say briefly, if they have habits, they cannot change it easily. But if they break precept formally, now after attaining noble foods, they will not break precepts. It will be different. Okay, next one.
Vandami said, why in the first jhana, second jhana, and third jhana is not associated with upekkha, but only the fourth jhana is associated with upekkha.
Okay, so upekkha is more powerful than happiness, right? So that means as long as we have attachment to jhana factors, we cannot move forward. For example, if we have attachment to hindrances, we cannot attain the first jhana. If we have attachment to Vitakka, Vichara, we cannot attain the second jhana like this. So now Sukha, happiness. Everybody like happiness. We all like happiness or the bliss. So that means when we have happiness, we cannot have equanimity. That is why when we can overcome happiness, we have equanimity. That's only the last one can associate with equanimity. More difficult one will be the last one, right? So one more thing here we have to know. We have many different types of equanimities. The equanimities and the fourth jhana is only feeling. Equanimous feeling. For other equanimity, for example, like Janupekha. Okay, we can also say easier way. Although we have happiness, we don't have attachment to happiness. Our mind will not incline to the happiness. Our mind will keep focusing on the breathing or on the nimitta. It also can be considered as equanimity. That one is not equanimous feeling. We can also say Janupekha. So that means every single jhana, we can also have upekha, equanimity, because our mind will ignore all other unnecessary things or unnecessary factors. Our mind must keep know the main objects, the nimitta. At the time, we also have equanimity. There can be different level of equanimity, different types of equanimity in different jhanas. Okay?
The next question is Vandami Bante. Is it breaking of the 10th precept if we touch the phone credit top-up card?
It's okay, it's not money, right? We're gonna buy anything with phone credit cards, me? Phone card, right?
Yeah, the phone card, top-up card.
It's okay, no, it's no problem. It's okay.
Vandami Bante. The Buddha condemned his disciple for the use of psychic power, but the Buddha teach those if there any benefit of psychic power. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
At least we can protect ourselves. Actually, Buddha didn't prohibit all types of psychic power. Buddha also allowed to use some psychic power, as long as it's not like a boasting people, like a magical show, right? It's not really very good, right? That's why Buddha limited some types of psychic power, that people can still use some psychic power. It will be beneficial for example, like if we can read other people's minds, sure, we can correct their minds, right? It's very beneficial, very beneficial. Okay?
Vandami Seado, he says about the question just now about the distance of the Kasina Nimitta, how far should it be? Is a 2 cubit and 1 span. About this 1 span, does it measure vertically from the tips of the fingers to the waist, or horizontally? Means the width of the fingers.
Okay, it's not that exactly. Okay. As long as you can see comfortably, it's okay. You can measure right from the any finger is okay, right? For example, like if we use middle finger, it will be a little bit wide, maybe not a middle finger, right? Yeah, middle finger will be a little bit bigger, sure. So that means you can use any finger, it doesn't matter. 1 cubit can be anyone, right? It's okay. It depends on you feel comfort.
Why is that in Pao Doya only the four jhana methods is used to practice?
Actually, it's a very common practice. Most of the Buddha use four methods in many Pali canon, Pali texts. That's why we just use four methods. When you go and read many suttas, the Buddha will use only four methods, right? That's why we use that one. Okay?
Vandami Seado, there are quite a number of well-known meditation teachers who proclaimed publicly their attainment of sainthood, usually arahantship, which judged from Vinaya is an apatti, offense. How should we treat such public announcement? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, okay, if people believe in that kind of teachers, okay, let them believe. We don't get involved in their belief, right? So in our mind, we have to know that the noble person will never claim like that. Just trying to avoid that kind of teacher. If somebody persuades you to approach that kind of teacher, okay, just reject politely. It will be more comfortable for you, more comfortable for them. If they accept your advice or your knowledge, okay, you can explain. The person will not do like that. You can explain like that, okay? Mostly, if we have this kind of teacher in Myanmar, many labor people will go there. Many of people will not go there. Okay. Ita wada ja'amehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe sada numodandu sabba sampati siriya idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idam me punyam asawakaya waham hodu idam me punyam nibbanasa patiyo hodu mama punya bhagam sabba sadanam bhajami te sabbe me samam punya bhagam lavandu sadhu sadhu sadhu.